All right, problem number 13 on WebAssign 3 is kind of tricky. So let's go over here. The good thing about this one is everyone's got the same numbers. So some of you already did it, which is great. So I thought I'd help out those of you who are still struggling. The whole idea is C1 is a constant circle of radius 1, right? The radius is 1. So this point there is, let's see, x is equal to 1, y is 0. And point P is at, we're calling this radius r. So it's at 0, comma r. And r, we're going to keep it, it could change. We're going to let r, actually the whole point here is we're going to let r get really small. As we shrink this circle, as r goes to 0, we want to see what happens to this point, this big R, capital R. We want to see what happens to that big, where does that point go as we shrink this circle. And this line is defined by these 2 points, P and Q. Now we know what P is. What the first question is to find Q. Okay, so we know P is this. And the way we find Q is that's where the two circles intersect. So we have to use our circle formulas to figure out where they intersect. So first off, this circle is centered at x equal 1, and they tell us the formula for it, but it's not hard to figure out. So it's just x minus 1 squared plus y squared is equal to the radius squared. The radius is 1, so 1 squared is still 1. And then this circle is centered at 0, so it's just x squared plus y squared equals r squared, because its radius is r, and r can change, so we'll just leave it as r. Now we want to figure out where those two things are the same. So what we can do is solve for y squared here and plug it into here and solve for x. So from this equation, y squared is equal to r squared minus x squared. Take this, plug it into there. So I get x minus 1 squared plus y squared, which is this, plus r squared minus x squared equals, we're plugging into here, so equals 1. Okay, so this is what we had. This is here was our y squared. Y squared is r squared minus x squared. Let's square this out. This is x squared plus 1 minus 2x plus r squared minus x squared is equal to 1. The x squareds cancel. That's beautiful. The 1's cancel. That's even more beautiful. Well, not more beautiful, but it's equally as beautiful. And then we got, all we have left is negative 2x plus r squared is equal to 0. Well, that's pretty easy. Put the negative 2x over here. R squared is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2, or x is equal to r squared over 2. So the x value of this point is r squared over 2. Now we can figure out the y value because we know what y squared is. Y squared is r squared minus x squared. So y then, let's see, I'll do this, can you see this? I'm going to work upwards now. Okay, see if we can do this. So if y squared is r squared minus x squared, y is the square root of r squared minus x squared. X is this, so I'm going to square that. So x squared is this squared over that r squared is r to the 4th. 2 squared is 4. So that's what x squared is. So we plug that into here. So y is equal to the square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4. Okay, that is the first answer. Our point Q is the x value is r to the 4th over 4, and the y value is square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4. Okay, not so bad. Now, we want the line, what's the equation for this line? Because we can figure out the equation for the line, then we can figure out the point r, because that's where the line is y equals 0. So we have 2 points now. All we ever need are 2 points to figure out a line. We have 0r, point P, and we have the point Q. Now the point Q is pretty complicated, right? These are the two things on it, so it's going to be a mess, but that's okay. So first we got to find the slope. So the slope m is the difference in the y value. So our 2 points are 0r and point Q, which I'll write right here. Point Q, its x value is this, r to the 4th over 4, comma, r squared minus r to the 4th over 4. Oh, sorry, x is r squared over 2. That's bad. X is r squared over 2, right? X is r squared over 2. Y is r squared minus r to the 4th over 4. Okay, that's fine. So this is r squared over 2. R squared over 2. Okay, phew, glad I caught that. That'll mess me up later on. I don't have people here to catch me. All right, now we got to find the slope. Let's do this one minus this one. Okay, so slope is change in y, this minus r. So the slope is square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4 minus r. This one minus this one divided by this minus that. That's nice because it's minus 0. Divided by r squared over 2. Yeah, we could simplify that, or we could just leave it like that. We can multiply the top and bottom by 2. I don't know. It's a lot to put in. The good thing is that WebAssign can do algebra. It can simplify for you, so people can put in all different things as long as it's algebraically the same thing. It's okay. They don't require you put it in the least simplified form, because sometimes it's arguable what is the best form. So that's our slope. Now if we use this point, we go y minus y1, so y minus r is equal to the slope, square root, all that stuff, r squared minus r to the 4th over 4 minus r divided by r squared over 2 x times x, times x minus 0. This is why it's nice, because it's x is value 0 minus 0, so we don't really need to put that. So put the r on the other side. It's a lot of writing. So finally we have y is equal to all this stuff, square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4 divided by r squared over 2 x, and then plus r, right? This minus r over here becomes a plus r on the other side. That's the equation for the line. That's part B. They put the x for you, I think. So all you gotta do is plug this in and then put plus r. Be really careful plugging this in. Make sure it's a square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4. It needs to look just like that. So you gotta be really careful plugging those things in. But that's the line. Now, the next part, all you gotta do is then figure out where, okay, that's part B. What is the point R? The point R is where this has a, when y equals 0, right? The point R is when y equals 0. So we just need to know the x point of r, because obviously the point r with the y value is 0. That's the definition of the point r. So what's the x value? So you plug in 0 here and you solve for x. So you have 0 equals all this stuff here times x plus r. We want to solve for x, put the negative r over here, and then divide by what's in the parentheses. So you're going to have on this side negative r equals the parentheses times x. So basically x is equal to negative r divided by all this stuff that I put in parentheses. So that's the square root of r squared minus r to the 4th over 4 divided by r squared over 2. You could certainly simplify all that. There's ways to simplify that stuff down there. Can you even see? Yeah, it looks like you can barely see all that stuff way down in the corner. But it'll take it. If you want to simplify, you can. But that's the idea there. A lot of typing in. Make sure you type it in correctly. It should look exactly like that. Okay, that is the x value, and obviously the y value is 0. Now the trick is, as x goes to 0, as the radius goes to 0, if you plug in r equals 0, you get 0 over 0, because everything is 0. That means we don't know the answer. 0 over 0, we don't know the answer. So as we let the radius of the circle get really small, we let it get super small, and it goes to 0, we want to know where does this point end up? We know the y value is 0, but what is the x value? So obviously the y value is 0. What's the x value? And so but we can't just plug in r equals 0. They say to use a table. Plug in maybe r is 0.00001. So plug in r 0.001 divided by 0.001 squared minus 0.001 to the fourth. That's a lot of work. Or you can type that equation to Desmos, which is what I did. I wonder if I still have that up. And let me see if I can bring that up. Desmos here. Yes. No, this is a different one. This is one for the other one. Sorry. But anyway, if you type that into Desmos, you can figure it out. And what you should get. Well, I hate to ruin the fun for you. I think you get 4. I think it goes to 4. I don't want to tell you the wrong answer. I'm going to look that up. But yeah, let me see here. Turn this off. Okay, so you plug that into Desmos, and you get. Yeah, I was right. It goes to 4. Which, who's to say, right? Who would guess that this thing, as r goes to 0, all of that stuff, because you get a bunch of zeros, it ends up going to x equals 4. Craziness. Okay, that's number 13. Hope that works for you, and hope that makes sense and you get it to work.